In 1983, a young marketing executive walks through the streets of Milan. He is not there for coffee. He is there for a work trip. But something about the small espresso bars on every corner catches his attention. People are not just buying coffee. They are lingering, talking, greeting the barista by name. The same cup of coffee served 1,000 times a day somehow feels personal each time. He watches this for hours and a strange thought forms in his mind. What if this feeling, not the coffee itself, is the real product? Most business travelers would have finished their coffee and moved on to their next meeting. This one could not stop thinking about what he had just witnessed. Welcome back to Gentle Wisdom, where you learn English while becoming a better version of yourself. One story, one step at a time. Today we explore the story of Howard Schultz. He transformed a small coffee bean retailer into one of the most recognized brands on earth. He did this by insisting on selling something far harder to define than coffee. By the end of this video, you will understand why the experience you create often matters more than the product you sell. Let's begin. Chapter 1: A company that only sold beans. Howard Schultz grew up in Brooklyn in a family with very little money. His father worked physically demanding jobs, including as a truck driver. When his father broke his ankle at work, he was fired with no health insurance and no compensation. That single moment stayed with Schultz for the rest of his life. Watching his father lose everything over one workplace injury planted a quiet conviction in him. He decided early on that if he ever ran a company, he would treat his workers differently. In 1981, Schultz was working in marketing when he noticed something odd. A small coffee company in Seattle was ordering an unusually large number of a specific machine. Curious, he visited the company. It was called Starbucks. At the time, it only sold coffee beans and equipment for people to brew at home. There were no cafes, no espresso drinks, no seating. Schultz was captivated by the founder's knowledge and passion for coffee. He joined the company shortly after as head of marketing, long before anyone imagined what Starbucks would eventually become. Chapter 2: The Trip That Changed Everything. In 1983, Schultz traveled to Milan for a trade show. It was there that he encountered Italy's espresso bar culture for the first time. He noticed that these small bars were not simply selling drinks. They were community spaces. People stopped in multiple times a day not only for the coffee but for the connection. Baristas knew customers by name. Conversations flowed easily across the counter. Schultz returned to Seattle certain that he had found something powerful. He believed Starbucks should transform from a bean retailer into a place where people could experience this same connection. The original founders disagreed. They believed Starbucks should remain focused on beans and equipment. Becoming a cafe, they said, was not the business they were in. For a company built entirely around one idea, refusing a founder's core vision was a significant risk to take. But Schultz did not let the rejection end his belief. Sell the experience, not the product. Chapter 3: Betting Everything on the Idea. Unable to convince the founders, Schultz left Starbucks in 1985 to start his own company, called Illinois Journal, modeled directly on the Italian espresso bars he had experienced in Milan. This was not a small decision. He was walking away from a stable position to build something unproven, based on a feeling he had experienced in a foreign country. Many people around him questioned whether a feeling from one trip abroad could really become a business. Illinois Journal succeeded. Customers responded exactly the way Schultz had hoped, drawn in by the atmosphere as much as the coffee itself. In 1987, when the original owners decided to sell Starbucks, Schultz saw his opportunity. He purchased the company for $3.8 million and merged it with Illinois Journal. Starbucks had 11 stores at the time. Today, it operates more than 30,000 locations across the world. Chapter 4: Protecting the Experience at Every Step. As Starbucks grew, Schultz insisted on maintaining strict control over how stores operated. Many companies grow quickly by franchising, allowing outside owners to run individual locations. Schultz largely avoided this path. He believed that franchising would risk diluting the very experience he had built the company around. Every detail, the sound, the smell, the exact tone of service mattered to him. He also introduced something unusual for the industry: comprehensive health care and stock options, even for part-time employees. This decision connected directly back to what happened to his own father decades earlier. It made Starbucks one of the first major retailers to offer such benefits. In 2008, during a difficult economic period, Schultz returned as CEO after stepping away for several years. One of his first actions was striking. He closed every single American store for one afternoon to retrain baristas on the art of making proper espresso. Shareholders were not pleased about the lost revenue that day. But Schultz believed that protecting the quality of the experience mattered more than one afternoon of sales. To him, a poorly made espresso was not a small mistake. It was a broken promise to every customer who walked through the door. Sell the experience, not the product. Chapter 5: What this means for you. Schultz's story is not really about coffee. It is about the willingness to protect an idea that others cannot yet see. When he first described his vision in Milan, the people around him saw a coffee company. He saw something else entirely, a feeling that people would return for again and again. Most people, when their vision is rejected, either abandon it or become bitter. Schultz did neither. He simply built a smaller version of his idea himself and let its success speak for him. Years later, the same founders who once said no would watch that small idea grow into a global company. Think about what you are building right now in your own life. Maybe it is your English. Maybe it is a skill, a habit, or a version of yourself that others do not fully understand yet. You do not need everyone to see your vision immediately. You need to protect it well enough that it can eventually prove itself, the way Schultz's small espresso bars eventually did. Every detail you protect is part of the experience you are building. Every small choice made with care adds up to something people can feel. Every belief you hold is worth protecting. So today, think about the experience you want to create, not just the outcome you want to achieve. The feeling often matters more than the product. Sell the experience, not the product. You are becoming. Something has shifted in you today. The person who finishes this video is not quite the same as the one who started it. That shift is real. And it is yours to keep. If you enjoyed today's story, please like and subscribe. A new story arrives every day. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments too. Every choice shapes your life. Small habits, big results. And keep becoming. Study Corner, today's English notes. Welcome to the Study Corner. Let's review 3 useful words from today's story. The first word is captivated. In the story we heard, Schultz was captivated by the founder's knowledge and passion for coffee. Captivated means completely fascinated, unable to look away or lose interest. For example, she was captivated by the story from the very first page. The next word is dilute. In the story we heard, franchising would risk diluting the very experience he had built the company around. To dilute means to weaken something by adding or allowing in something else. For example, Growing too fast can dilute the quality of a brand. The third word is conviction. In the story we heard, watching his father lose everything over one workplace injury planted a quiet conviction in him. Conviction means a strong belief that something is true or important. For example, his quiet conviction about fairness shaped how he treated his employees. What was the most useful thing you learned today? Or is there anything you want to know more about? Share your thoughts in the comments. Small steps. Every day. You are doing well. See you tomorrow.